Hey everybody, it's your girl Bondi Blue, and I am back for another 90-Day Fiancé the other way. Okay, I don't know how many episodes are in this season, but I feel like we're getting to the end of this. Either way, let's go ahead and start off. I hope y'all are having a good week. Y'all, I can't say y'all how much I'm feeling myself with no hair. Like I knew I would feel this way, but I feel sexier with no hair than I did when I had a long weave. Okay, look. Okay, just how I'm feeling about myself. We all say like out here that when you ain't got no hair, hair on your head, it draws attention directly to your ass. We don't understand why, but it just seems to be like the thick girl, the thick girl haircut. Okay, look. So y'all, Laura goes to Liam's room because she has to drop off his tuxedo, but she also wants to talk about how he's been acting this entire time. He came all the way across the globe, but he hasn't been there for the first 2 days of activities, okay? So it just kind of seems like he's being a sourpuss, all right? And I told y'all he was giving unsub vibes, okay? But he corrected that today, and I'm glad about that, all right? So she said she was disappointed the way he acted with Aladdin, but she says, you know what, Mom, you're right. I'm going to apologize because I've really been being a jerk to Aladdin, and I've been making this more difficult, and I've decided that I'm going to grow up. I said, in this moment, you've decided, okay? You thought about it, you've decided that you're going to grow up today. Okay. But of course, after we have the conversation about the fear that she will not help him financially anymore if she has another baby to take care of. And I don't know what Liam's situation is, but I think that Liam needs to learn how to take care of himself. And I don't like that it feels as if you're expecting your mom to take care of you for the rest of her life. I don't like what that feels like because I feel like that is not the purpose of having a child. The purpose of having a child is to basically, just like God, build someone in your image. Okay? And yes, sometimes they don't fit into your image, but at the end of the day, the imagery is your image because you gave it to them. Okay? Genetics. But if that person wants to go and do whatever they want to do, in life, great, fine. But you don't raise them to be dependent upon you for their entire lives. That's what you don't do, okay? And that's what this feels like. So I'm just kind of looking at it like, she ain't going to be able to keep no man. And I heard that her and Aladdin not together no more. But, that's another story for another day. But we're glad he apologized because it just kind of felt like, dude, like, suck it up. You know what I'm saying? But it's the wedding. They put her in this gaudy, ill-fitted dress. Okay, now even though it was blinged out, it looked nice in the aspect of it being blinged out, but it did not fit well. And it's just like, okay. And then she has this really flat hair that they put a tiara on. I'm like, they couldn't put some curls in that. They ain't got no curling wands, no curling irons, or no curl formers. Like there was nothing we could have done to make her hair look better than it does because she has such flat hair and she wears that same hair on an everyday basis. You would think somebody would do more for their wedding. The wedding just felt like it wasn't real. It felt like it wasn't real. It felt like she didn't want to be there herself. It felt like she didn't like the wedding herself. It just really felt like she didn't want to be there. It didn't feel like two people who are so happy to marry each other coming together to have this union. It did not feel like that at all. So it was just kind of like a beautiful party. That's all it really was. There was no officiant, which made me feel like in some way the wedding, the marriage may not be like legal. I'm not sure, but I remember that when she first came to see him, they got married so that they would be able to stay in the same hotel room and do jiggy jiggy. Okay, so, legally, I think they were already married, and this was just the pomp and circumstance of it all. But Liam in his cowboy hat and his camel tooth necklace walked her down the aisle. He was just like so weird. Oh my God, he's just so weird. Aladdin talking about Liam. Aladdin was fine as hell at that wedding. Okay, like that navy blue suit with the glitter on the lapel, y'all. I was just like, he looked good, y'all. I was like, ooh. Please make me understand why he's not marrying an equally attractive young woman of his own age. Never mind. After the walking in and all of that, they're sitting down and Liam goes over to them to apologize to Aladdin and to tell him that he's going to just hope for the best with this situation instead of being the negative Nancy has been the entire time. It's a come to Allah moment. We were very appreciative of it. But let's see how this ends. All right, y'all, moving on to Karine and Paul. Y'all, thank God Paul's mom came down to visit and see her grandbaby, because Paul has been on his best behavior because of it. And even though there's this huge language barrier, okay, some of us know maybe a little bit of Spanish, but Portuguese is a whole nother situation, and she speaks Portuguese, okay? Portuguese in love. That's as much as okay, that's as much as we know about it. Thank you, Tina Marie. All right, but either way, they have a conversation about Paul and how he can get out of control sometimes. And Karine just wants advice on how to reel him in. But the mom is like, child, I can't tell you how to do that because I hadn't even figured that out. But what I will do is talk to him about it. So they do talk later on. That mama was sweating this entire trip. I knew she couldn't wait to get back to her house and get into some air conditioning. But she basically told him that he has to step up and be a man, get a job, stop depending on me. She said, you depend on me way too much. That needs to stop. You need to do what you should have done years ago, which is be an adult and take care of yourself. Okay? Like, that was the conversation basically. And Paul just kind of sat there shaking his head looking stupid. And when his mom leaves, it's all sad and everything. She's so sweet. Mama is so sweet. Something tells me that maybe the baby and when he was growing up, like, that's what I be telling y'all. When y'all don't teach them kids responsibility, chores, you know, when they get to high school, little part-time job during the summer or something like that, you have to instill responsibility along the way. Because if you wait until they get 18 and try to make them be an adult, it's not gonna happen. Okay? It's just not. So when I see Paul and his mom, I feel like that might have been the situation. Because even though she's telling them he needs to step up now, when we first started watching them, the closeness of their relationship made me feel like he was too dependent upon her. And that's something that she allowed. So, but when she leaves, Paul and Karine have a conversation about whether they want a divorce or not. And Karine says that she doesn't want the divorce. She's going to give it another try. And he makes a comment. He's like, oh, so you're not going to be talking to any other guys anymore? And she's like, Paul, shut up. Like, don't ruin the moments. That girl is not cheating on you. If she's doing what Maria doing, they ain't doing nothing to get all the money that they like, I'm sorry. I really feel like this, and it may be messed up. But if I'm living in Brazil, which is impoverished, and I have a man who don't have a job, if I am texting, sending videos, of course, if they're not nude, because I think that's too much. But from what we saw from Maria, all she was doing was, hey, baby, mwah. Okay, on 90 days before the 90 days. Like, just, you know, hey, baby, I love you, you are my husband. Mwah. Like, she was just sending that shit to like 8 people at one time, okay? So if you're doing that and you collected somebody's whole check every month, child, Paul better sit there and shut up. But now that he's gotten his, you know, residency approved, he can try to find a job and do better by Karine. But they did make it much longer than we thought that they would. So go ahead, Paul and Karine. Go on in life. Do the best you can. Okay? Y'all, Jenny and Submit. He finally got permission to talk to Jenny 7 days after his family took him away. She wants to know what happened. Why would you not tell me that you were married? He says that he got married 2 years ago. He's been talking to Jenny the entire time he's been married to this woman, okay? And he says that he tried to work it out within that first year. But Jenny is like, how did you try to work it out? You were still talking to me. Why didn't you tell me? And that's the realization. I may be making fun of the way Jenny talks, but ultimately Jenny is completely right in how she feels. And she needs to just go home. Like, I'm sorry, Submit, but bump you. Because you should have told her what it was, and you didn't. Now he's sitting up there talking about he wants to fight for his relationship with Jenny. And he's going to try to get a divorce. He doesn't care if they put him in jail. Well, her visa is about to expire. So she says she's going to go back home to nothing, to have to start over again. And she says then is when she will make her decision on their relationship. I just kind of feel like it would be so great if it had worked out, but the way he lied to you, I don't feel like you can ever trust somebody if they can lie to you about things like that. He let you move to another country, sell your apartment, sell your car, get rid of your job. Like, he let you in your life somewhere so you can come here and deal with this foolishness. Okay, so I just think Jenny needs to be done with Submit. And maybe Submit needs to figure out how to be a man all on his own. And if he can figure that out, maybe he can come back and fool with Jenny along the line. Excuse me, y'all. But Jenny, go back home, girl. Go back home and start to rebuild your life, because you can't not take responsibility for the fact that you shouldn't have moved anywhere without getting married first. I'm just saying, had she had to go through that first, then she would have found out about all of this before getting rid of her life and moving over there. I'm just saying, y'all, that's what I see. I feel like if she had traveled back and forth more often, and when she traveled there this last time, they should have tried to get married when she came there. And then once she's gotten married, she can go home and shut everything down and then come back to be with Submit. But no, you wanted to move your whole life out here and then get married to him. And that's why I feel like, no, you should never have made that decision without that wedding and that marriage already being stamped. Because now look, and I always tell people, don't be moving no damn well. You know what I'm saying? Don't be moving no damn well with somebody who ain't, said they was, put a ring on your finger or married you. Don't do that. Because you giving up your life. And I done seen way too many women move somewhere to be with a man, and then they break up and the woman just stuck somewhere she never planned to be because of some man. If that's what you want, because I know there's some of y'all that don't want that. That's fine. I'm talking about those of y'all like Jenny who do. Tiffany and Ronald. This is another situation where there should have been more traveling back and forth ahead of time. There should have, I don't understand why, Tiffany is actually doing it the right way, except for the fact that she married him, brought her child over there to get accustomed to being around him, and got pregnant with another child, instead of going there, looking around, seeing how she felt about living there first before she had done all of this with him. I'm sorry, but when people put the cart before the horse in some of these situations, they make life harder than it had to be. Okay. And then this is what this looks like to me. All right. They walking around, to me, looks like a regular neighborhood. It's a gated community, just like they have out here. There are so many neighborhoods out here, especially on the West Bank, where the neighborhoods are enclosed in gates. And it looked exactly like when they were first walking, to that park. And also, there are shitty parks all over America. There are parks with condoms and crack pipes and, all over the place. So Tiffany's selling this story that South Africa is so unsafe, and it's not like that in America. And it's like, where in America? America is vast, just like South Africa is, I'm sure. Just like I'm sure there's some areas of South Africa that he can't afford to live in that may not be as, gated up. Okay, the fear of being robbed or kidnapped in your bed at night and all of that type of stuff. But I feel like everybody has that fear. Even if you live here in America, you got an alarm system, you locking your windows and your doors, hopefully, so people can't just come into your house and do anything to you or steal your car from out front of your house. It still happens here. So the fact that she's running it as if they are so unsafe in South Africa, even though they are currently holding hands and walking to a park with their kid, which is something they would have been able to do here. Okay, yes, the park was lackluster. That's fine. They got shitty parks all over the place, but you can still walk around and not have to worry about somebody doing something to you. So I don't understand why she's oh, it's so unsafe. It's so unsafe. And it's I'm waiting for something to actually happen to prove that it's unsafe. They have gates. We have gates here too. I don't understand. Her trying to pretend what's going on in South Africa, what we're seeing of them in South Africa is so different from what's going on here. Now, the hospital system, absolutely. But we all know that America tends to be, further than other places when it comes to medical, when it comes to things of that nature. But we talking about gated communities and all of that. They just look nicer, but it's the same thing. She doesn't know what to do. She talks to Daniel, and Daniel doesn't want to live there forever. He says he sees all these gates and stuff, which makes him feel like it's not safe. I said, I don't think that he sees the gates and feel like it's not safe. I feel like he's heard y'all's conversations, and now he feels unsafe. I think him feeling unsafe has more to do with what y'all have said around him than the gated community that y'all live in. Get out of my face with this, okay? But the little boy wants to move back home, and I think it's more so because he misses his friends and his family. And this was fun, but I want to go home now, okay? He's a kid. Of course, that's how he feels. And he says, it's too much pressure to have to choose between dad and being back in America. So you've already put this pressure on your kid, which could have been, which could have not happened had you brought him here to visit, took him home, and you know what I'm saying, like just had a little bit more back and forth before you come here, get married, try to find a place to live, have a, another baby. Like, it's just so much that you've done that makes it so much harder for you to go back home, because now you're gonna go back home to have this baby. And what's gonna happen to your husband, who can't get to America because of his record over here in South Africa? You think it's gonna be easy to get him over here? Coming from, what the president calls a shithole country. Like, y'all see what I'm saying? And now you're going to bring this baby into the world. Will that baby know his dad at first? Like, well, FaceTime. That baby don't know nothing about FaceTime. The baby knows somebody's holding them. They hear the voice, the smell. Like, the physicality of the situation. She won't be alone. She'll have her mom, her whole family will be there for her, but he won't be. So that's why it's just kind of like, if you hadn't had that baby, if you wasn't pregnant right now, this wouldn't be so hard. Now, would it? So I just feel like it's a lot of things that happen on 90 Day Fiancé where they're so in a rush to do things that they're not actually thinking about long-term effects. And here we are with you deciding that you're going to go back to America and leave this man here because you so scared that he going to relapse because you're putting all of this financial pressure on him. Well, now you're going to go back home and he got a baby that's across the world. That's not going to add no additional stress. Girl, you should have just dropped Ronald after he, lost all the money. Like, that should have just been like, all right, I'm out. But you wanted to hold on. And here we are now. Like, it just seems sad to me to now break up the situation. Now he can't be there for the birth. And I think that she talking that mess, but I don't think it's going to be easy to get him in America the way she was trying to make it seem. She think because he's white it's going to be easier. I'm sure of it. But anyway, y'all, that was 90 Day Fiancé the other way. It wasn't much to it. I hope y'all enjoyed the review. I'll see y'all in the next one.